Good day, everyone. I am Sir Jerickson S. Chua, and welcome to Empowerment Technologies.
Hello and welcome to Empowerment Technologies. For today's lesson, we're going to discuss about advanced spreadsheet skills. This will be our fourth lesson in eTech. Our learning objectives: by the end of the lesson, the student should be able to familiarize the most commonly used functions in MS Excel, use several conditional functions available in MS Excel, and use MS Excel as a viable tool in market research and product development. To start with, let's try to answer the following question. How do we compute in mathematics? What are the symbols used in the computation of numbers? What is the order of computation when solving numbers? How about in MS Excel? How do we compute numbers? So let's try to answer each of those. So when computing numbers, usually we have the first number, plus we have the symbol, and then we also have another number equal sign to get the final result. So as seen on the example, we have 1 plus 1 equals 2. 8 minus 4 is equal to 4. 85 times 10 is equal to 850. So that's how we compute in mathematics. And what are the symbols used in the computation of numbers? So we have the plus sign for addition, we have the minus sign for subtraction, we have this dash for division, we have X or parenthesis for multiplication. So those are the symbols that we use in computing numbers. What is the order of computation when solving numbers? So we have what we call the PEMDAS or parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. But how about in MS Excel? How do we compute numbers? Okay, so when adding numbers, we just need to place first an equal sign, plus we have the first number, we have your plus sign, and we have your second number to get the result of your addition. For subtraction, it's the same. It always starts with an equal sign to have it as a formula. Okay, so 100 minus 23, so you can get the result of that. Multiplication, equal sign, 50 asterisk 50. So asterisk is used for multiplication in Excel. We also have here the backslash for division. That's 45 divided by 5 equal sign. And for exponent, we use the caret sign. And for concatenation, we use the ampersand sign. Concatenation is used for merging numbers or letters into one. So basically, these are the symbols that are used in MS Excel. And when we are computing numbers, we always start with a equal sign. So MS Excel, so as you can see here, we can see here the different ribbons. We have the home ribbon, the insert, the page layout, the formula, the data, review, and view. And we also have here what we call your column letters. This is identified as column letters, A, B, C, D, E, F. And we also have here your row numbers, because as you can see, the numbers is placed into rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. Okay, and this is your column letters. And this one is what you call your formula bar. Okay, and this will be the name of your cell. So as you can see here, the highlighted part here, this is A1. It's the combination of your column letter and your row number. So that's A1. Okay, so when getting a cell in your MS Excel, each of these boxes is called a cell, as you can see, and each of it has its own name. So for example, this one is called C2. Okay, this one is called D2. This one is called B2. So that's how you name the cells in your MS Excel. And we have a lot of features that you can use this, but we'll primarily focus on the use of what we call formulas and functions. So all in all, the total rows of our MS Excel is about 1,048,576, and the total columns is about 16,384 or XFT. So let's proceed to the different types of data. So in MS Excel, we have 4 types of data. We have the value. So basically, a value is a number that represents a quantity of some type or a number that can be used in a calculated formula. It can be an amount, percentage, date, money, weight, and others. Basically, any number that you place on your MS Excel is a value. Next, we also have text. So text is character, symbol, number, special characters, or any combination. So example of a text are labels for values, column or row headings, instruction or descriptions, And cell data that begins with a number, for example, this one Main Street, is still considered as a text, basically because it's a combination of the number and the text. We also have here what we call formula. So this is the true power of spreadsheet. And formula combines the values or text of cells to provide a calculated result. Changing the value to cell used in a formula will cause the formula to automatically recalculate and update the result. That is the true power of our MS Excel. It's basically computing numbers or computing data, okay, on your MS Excel file. And then we also have here the last one, type of data, which is also known as your date and time. Although not considered a separate type of dates and times are so popular, they deserve a special mention. Dates and time can be used either as a text, okay, as label, or value in calculating the days between dates, okay. So dates and time can be a text or a value, okay. So we have here the four types of cell data: value, text, formula, and dates and time. Next, we also have here the common cell errors encountered. So later on, when you will be computing some values on your MX Excel, you may encounter this following errors. And we have here the first one, which is what we call the hashtag error. So this value occurs when the cell contains a number, date, or time that is wider than the cell, or when the cell contains a date or time formula that produce a negative result. So once you see this kind of error on your MS Excel, you just need to move the column of your cell so that you can see the value inside that particular cell. Okay. Next, we also have the hashtag value error. So hashtag value error occurs when the wrong type of argument or operand is used if the formula autocorrect feature cannot correct the formula. For example, you want to add a text and a number, okay, so you will get a value error there because you cannot add those two cell data. Okay. Next, we also have a name error, hashtag name error. This occurs when Microsoft Excel doesn't recognize the text in your formula. So basically, for example, you will be using a sum function. So you have equal sign, sum, and then you have the argument inside that particular sum function. Okay, and then you forgot to place the u or m in that sum function. Okay, and then you will get a name error for that because we don't have a su formula or function, okay, or sm formula or function. Okay, so that you can get a name error for this. Okay, and we also have here NA, meaning this value occurs when the value is not available to function or formula. So what you just need to do if you see this kind of error is you just need to place the value in that particular cell. Okay, so we have the common cell errors, we have the hashtag error, the value error, the name error, and we have the NA error. So let's proceed in working with formulas and functions. So what's the difference between formula versus function? So a formula calculates a new value from existing values. An Excel formula can contain a combination of constant values, cell references, or cell addresses, range reference, named range, functions, and operators. So formulas always begin with an equal sign. So be mindful of that because if you didn't place an equal sign on your formula, it will not compute at all. So this is an example of a formula. So we have B4 plus 25 divided by the sum of B5 up to F5. Okay, so as you can see here, we have B4. So this is what we call our cell reference. Okay, plus this is your addition operator. 25 is a numeric constant. So basically, any number that you place in a formula is called a numeric constant. And then we also have here parentheses divided by sum. So sum is an example of a function, okay, that is already embedded on your MS Excel. So if you use this particular function, you can get the sum of two values. So this is an example of a worksheet function. And D5 until F5 is what we call our range reference. Basically, the number starting from D5 until F5 will be added using the sum function. Okay, so that's how we use our formula. Next, we also have here what we call functions. So functions are predefined formulas that perform calculations by using specific values called arguments in a particular order or structure. So anything that is placed inside that particular parentheses after the function, that is called an argument. For example, the sum function adds values and ranges of cells. So let's see this example. So you have here your sum, and inside of the parentheses is what you call your argument. Okay, so this is your function name, the name. A10 is what we call our cell reference. That's your cell reference. So any value that is placed on A10 will be added. Okay. We also have B5 to B10. That is your cell range. Okay, or what we call our ranges. Okay. You also have 50 and 37 as your numeric constant. And if you want to add those values, it is always separated with a comma. Okay. So don't place plus sign here because it's already a sum function. You don't need to place plus sign here anymore because it will be redundant. Okay, so you will add here and then it will also add here. Okay, so when placing some values inside the argument, it should always separated by a comma. Okay, so we have here the different order of operators. So we follow what we call this order, okay, in computing some numbers. This is similar with PEMDAS in mathematical equations. So it also follows in MS Excel. So we have and or not. These are some functions that you may use later on in the future if you are working in different companies. We also have here parentheses, okay. So we can place argument inside here, or you can use this as for multiplication purposes. Exponent, okay, we have this one. We have asterisk or dash for multiplication or division. Plus or minus for addition or subtraction. We have the ampersand symbol. This is used for concatenating numbers. And we also have equal sign, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal. So if you have see this kind of symbol on your MS Excel, that is what we call your not equal. So how can we differentiate less than and greater than? Okay, when we want to compare numbers. Okay, so let's try to have an example. If we have here your Cartesian plane, so imagine you have a Cartesian plane here. This is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. So any number that is placed on this part of the x-axis on the left side, these are negative numbers. So that is less than. Okay, that's less than. Negative numbers is less than. But if you want to see greater than values, it means that it's always positive. So you may use the greater than. That's going to the positive numbers. Negative numbers is less than. Positive numbers is greater than. So that you will not be confused between less than and greater than. Okay, so that's how you differentiate those two operators. Okay, next, let's proceed in writing formulas and functions. So we have here what we call constant. So as I said a while ago, any number that you place on your cells in our MS Excel, those are called constant numbers. So using an actual number is like using a calculator. So if you type equal sign 5 plus 2, you will get a result of 7. This means that the formula will always give a result of 7 unless you manually edit the formula to provide another result. Okay, so that's constant. We also have here what we call our cell references. So as you can see here on the short clip, we have here different cell references. So using cell reference in a formula allows you to begin harnessing the true power of MS Excel. Writing a formula A1, which is this one, A1, plus B2, which is this one. It means that the formula will display the result depending on the value in the cells containing A1 and B2. So for example, we place A1 1 and B2 is 2, so you will get 3 with this particular formula. So that's how we use our cell reference. We also have what we call our name reference. So as you can see here, this is A1, B2, B1, and C1. Okay, so this one, we can change the name of this particular cell. Okay, so how do we change that? By clicking this particular name of that cell, and then you may just edit it. Okay, so for example, this A1 is total. So as you can see in the example, this is B1 and C1. Okay, so this is a single cell or group of cell that can be given a specific name. Using a name range in a formula helps user better understand the formula is doing. For example, you have a value in A1 that represents an item, so that is total in this particular example. The good thing about name referencing is that when you want to get the result of that particular cell, you may just place the name of that particular cell in the computation of numbers. Okay. Okay, so for example, if we want to get the total, okay, of A1, so you just need to place here equal sign 1 plus total. So any number that is placed on here, which is 1 for example, that will be equal sign 1 plus total is equal to 2. Okay, so that's how you use name reference. Then we also have cell range, a range of cell that is usually indicated by listing the address of the first and last cell, and the contiguous range separated by a colon to indicate the inclusion of all the cells in between. Okay, so we have here, this is A1 until this is C5. So that is your range. Meaning all the numbers placed on this cell until this cell will be added or multiplied or divided depending on the purpose that you will use it for. So that's an example of cell range. So let's proceed to relative references. So if you create a relative formula, references to cells or ranges are based upon their position relative to the cell that contains the formula. Excel automatically adjusts the references in the pasted formula. So for example, if you copy a formula from sum E11 to D12, from E11 to E12, okay, so then the formula will adjust to sum is equal to E12 to D12. If you just adjust that particular formula, you can get this same function from the previous to the other range. Okay? Absolute reference, if you create an absolute formula, then you are telling Excel that you do not want the formula to adjust when copying it to a different location. Place a dollar sign before the parts of the formula using the F4 function to get the dollar sign in your cell. An example, if you copy a formula from say, cell sum of E11 to D11 using the absolute reference from E11 to E12, then the formula will still be sum of E11 to D11. So comparing between the two examples, in relative reference, it will adjust. But if you use the absolute reference, the formula will still be the same even if you adjust it to other cells. Okay? So let's proceed to absolute rows. So this specify a formula that has a fixed row. So as I said a while ago, our row is composed of our numbers. So as you can see here, the dollar sign is placed before the number. So this is an absolute row. Next, we also have absolute column. This specify a formula that has a fixed column. So example, we have a dollar sign A and then 11. So it meaning the absolute value is on the column. And then we also have the absolute cell. This specifies a fixed cell. Example, we have a dollar sign A, dollar sign 11. So meaning both of the column letters and row number is absolute. Okay, so to further understand how relative and absolute reference is being done, let's watch this video. And we can also learn how to use the different Excel functions and formula in the video. Let's try to compare the relative reference and the absolute reference by doing this. So we have to get the sum of the two values. So let's use the sum function. Let's get A1 cell reference. Then we have B1 as your another cell reference. So we're going to get the two values and add this. So this is, the answer will be 2, this will be 4, and this will be 6. So as you can see, when I drag the formula, it follows on the other cells. So we have 2, 4, and 6. That is relative reference. Let's try to use the absolute reference. So it says here, if you use absolute reference, it's telling Excel that you do not want the formula to adjust when copying it to a different location. So let's try this. So we're going to get the absolute reference of the first value. Let's put some here. And we need to change this in absolute cell by clicking F4. And then you just need to place a comma and then your second value. So as you can see, we have here your absolute cell. So let's try to assess what will be the result for the second and the third number. So as you can see, we have here 3 and 4 from 4 and 6. So look at the formula. The first value doesn't change, but your second value changes. So that is your absolute reference. So let's proceed to formulas and functions. So we have here two values such as 10 and 23, and we're going to add this value. So an example of which is we add together the values in cells A2 and A3. So let's place value in A2. Let's place 23 here, and A3 is we have 34. If we want to get the sum of these two numbers, we just need to create a formula such as we have A2 plus A3. So, one good way of indicating where is your cell data is the color coding. So as you can see, A2 is color blue and A3 is color red. So it means that there is a value here and there is a value there. And then we're going to just click enter or hit enter, and we're going to get the sum of those values. Another one is by using constant numbers. So we have A2 and then we're going to add 5. So the value of A2 is 23. We're just going to add a numeric constant 5. So the answer will be 28. Next, let's try to get values from a range. So an example is we have sum D1 to D5. But on our example, let's try to add these values. So we're going to get the sum of A1 until A4. So how did I do this? So I just need to click the first cell until the last cell, and then you're going to get the cell range A1 to A4 to get the sum of that values. Next is on subtraction. So on our example, we're going to deduct A2 and A3. So in our deduction, we just need to use the minus sign. So we have equal sign A2, that is your color blue, and we have A3, that will be color red. So the answer will be 150 because we just subtracted 200 minus 50. Next is we have here a numeric constant. So we can place a value for C1. For example, let's place 1000, and we're going to subtract the value C1. We have C1 minus, for example, 10. So the answer will be 990. So that is subtraction. Next, let's try to multiply number. So for multiplication, you just need to use the asterisk. So equal sign. Let's multiply A1 and B1. So the answer will be 5,000 because 100 times 50 is 5,000. We can also use the function product. So product of A2 and A3. So as you can see, when using your functions, you need to separate your values by a comma. You don't need to place symbols inside the argument anymore because it will be redundant. So the answer will be, we have here 10,000. So that's how you use your product function. In subtraction, there are no functions available in this kind of formula. Next is addition and multiplication. So as seen in our presentation, we have here, let's try to place this on our Excel, 6 plus 8 multiplied by 10. So in mathematics, we do the PEMDAS operation, and in Excel, we also follow that. So we need to add first the value inside the parentheses, which is 6 plus 8, which is 14, multiplied by 10, and that will be 140. Next, we have division. Let's try to divide C1 divided by 5. So we have equal sign. Your C1 has a value of 140 divided by the numeric constant 5. So the answer will be 28. Next, let's try to divide two references. For example, let's place a value here divided by the value here. So as you can see, it's div 0 because we haven't placed yet a value inside those cells. So let's try to place 200 divided by 100. So the result will be 2. So that's how you do the division. In division, there is also a quotient function. So you just need to place here quotient of, we have your first cell and your second cell, and the result will be 2. Next is on averages. So we have here an average function. So as seen is in this example, we have h1 to h5. But on my presentation, I'm going to use a1 to a5. So we're going to get the average of all the numbers. So we're going to use the average function, and we're going to get the cell range a1 to a5. So the result will be 83.40. So as you can see, this is on a first decimal scale. So how do we add more decimal places? You just need to click this to increase your decimal places. So that is how you use your increase and decrease decimal places. Okay, let's proceed. Next, we have your percentages. So let's try to calculate the 10% of value in cell A, so which is your 90. So we're going to multiply A1 times 10%. So 10% is also similar with 0.10. So let's try to differentiate the two. So the answer will be 9. So let's try to compute another one, A1 multiplied by 0.10. So it's the same result. Next, we also have here A1 plus A1 multiplied by 4%. 4%. So it means we're going to get first the 4% of A1 and we're going to add it to A1. So what is the 4% of A1? I don't know. We'll see about that. Okay, the result will be 93.6. Now let's talk about the other formulas in MS Excel. So we have here, the first one is the count blank function. This counts up all blank cells in the range. So let's try to use the count blank, and we're going to use this range. So we have A1 to B3. So the result will be 1. It's because we only have one blank cell. Next, we're going to use the count function. So this counts up all the cells in This counts up all the cells with values in the range. So let's count the values in the range. So as you can see, we're going to count all the numbers in the range. So we have 10, 45, and 78, and that is your values. This is a text, this is a text, and this has no value. So the result will be 3. Next is we have the count A function. It means we're going to count up all the cells in the range, whether it's a text or a value. So let's count A1 to B3. So the result will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we also have here the COUNTIF function. So the COUNTIF function counts up the cells in the range that contains a value that is greater than a specified number. So let's use the COUNTIF function. We're going to get the range. We have A1 to B3, and then we're going to count all the numbers that is greater than 5. So the answer will be 10, 45, and 78. That will be 3. Next is our logical operator. So this can be used in the conditions of functions that are embedded in your Excel. So we have the equal sign, we have the greater sign or the less than sign. We also have the greater than or equal to, we have less than or equal to, and we have the not equal to sign. So how do we determine the greater than to a less than symbol? Let's try to imagine your Cartesian plane. So we have here your y-axis and we have your x-axis. When you want to know if you have your less than sign, you just need to see the numbers to the left, which is your negative number. So that is less than a number. Next, we have greater than. So you just need to the right side to know that there are positive numbers. So that is greater than. Next is we have the large function. So as you can see, we have here the cell range A1 to B3. Let's try to find the largest number in the cell. So we're going to use the large function. Large, we're going to get the cell. And then we're going to place here 1. 1 meaning the first largest number. So you can change it to 2, 3, 4, and 5. It depends on what you are looking for that specific number. So we're going to get the first largest number in the range. So the answer will be 90. If you want to get the second largest number, you just need to place 2. So that will be 80. So that's how you use the large function. Next is we have the median function. So we're going to use median and we're going to get the median of the numbers. So the result will be 68.5. Next is we have your max, meaning you're going to get the largest value in the range. Compared to the large function, you cannot specify the second, third, and fourth largest number with max function because it's the maximum value in the range. So we're going to use the range A1 to B3. And if we have max, we also have the mean, meaning the minimum number in the range. Next is we have another countif function. So let's try to use the countif function. We're going to get the range, which is A1 to B3, comma, and we're going to get numbers that is lesser than 50. So let's going to get numbers that is lesser than 50. So what will be the result? It will be 1 because we only have 2, which is a number lesser than 50. Next is we have the square root function, sqrt, and we're going to get the square root of 90. The result will be 9.486832981. And we're going to use caret. Caret can be used as this one. So we're going to get the exponent of 56 raised to 2. So that will be 3,156. Another example, A2 raised to 10. Result is 1,024. So that is other formulas and functions in Excel. Next function is concatenation. So a text performs evaluation with labels or text entries. It may be combined with numeric formulas and or functions. Text formulas to text operator and it combines one or more text values to produce a single piece of text. So when we say concatenation, we're going to connect or concatenate two values to produce one continuous text value. So let's try to concatenate this and this. So it means we're just going to combine these values. So the answer will be 9078. But if we do A1 plus 78, the answer will be 168. So as you can see, when we use concatenation, we're just going to merge the two values together. Another one is we have concatenate hi and hello. So the result is hi, hello. Another use of concatenation is through the use of the symbol ampersand. So we can concatenate another value. So let's click here, use the and symbol or ampersand, and then second value, and then enter. So that is concatenation. Another feature of MS Excel is having numbers without you typing it. For example, I'm going to type numbers 1 to 10. So I just need to do this. I just need to place 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to highlight it, and then we have here the black cross, and we're going to just drag it down until we get to number 10. So I don't need to enter numbers 1 to 10 anymore. I just need to drag the numbers. So that's a good feature of MS Excel. Another one is on the month. So for example, January, February, and March. And then we just need to highlight it, click the black cross, and then we're going to do it until December. So that's how you place months in MS Excel. Okay, let's proceed. Let's proceed to the function date. So let's use the date function. And inside the date function will be the year, month, and the date. So we have 2020, the month is 8, and we have the day is 20. So that is our date. But what if you want to change this format into other date format? So you just need to go here and then go to more number formats. We're going to find the date. For example, we want Wednesday, March 14, 2020. So we can just adjust it, and then we have here the date. Next, let's continue. We have the time. So time, in the time format, it needs the hour, minute, and second. So we have 10, 36, for example, 10 seconds. So that's 10:36 p.m. But what if we want it on p.m.? So on time, we use the military time. So if you want to have 1 p.m., you just need to place 13. So that's 1:36 p.m. If you want it's 11 p.m., it should be 23:30. So 11:36 p.m. Next, we also have the now function. So let's use the now function. So it will place your date and your time. But if you want to change this format, you could just need to go on our more numbers format. And the last one is we have the today function. So we have today. So the result will just be the date. So in summary of our discussion in our MS Excel, this provides an automated way of displaying any statistical data. It can be used to automatically compute for several factors that are not easy to notice, especially when faced by a large data. Using MS Excel, this includes several arithmetic and basic functions that will help you compute faster.